couldn't even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper. I'll tell you, that bald chick was right about one thing. You will never save the world. And motherfucker, I wish I could say you die alone. But it's one of God's best jokes that you can't die, except that's on all of us.
I'm gonna fight you now.
Oh, are you?
Okay, and welcome back to another review from JJ's Needful Things for Hot Toys Deadpool and Wolverine Deadpool figure. I really like this box because it's pretty traditional size, but it's artwork on the front instead of it being pictures of the figure, which I pretty much talk about every video. But I think the dancing picture on the back is pretty hysterical, and there's just a good collage of images on here that I think represent Deadpool, and the box is really shiny and has great color. And here we have a great full shot of the figure itself. Here is Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, and what I think is possibly the best Deadpool suit we have received. Now, as far as its replication of what we saw in the film, I think they're pretty much spot on here. There are pretty much zero complaints, I would say, from my end, and there are a lot of improvements from previous Deadpool suits. But I just wanted to give you a quick full shot view of it, just so you can kind of get the gist of what we're working with here. And here we are with a close-up view of the head sculpt itself. Now, we've seen all the Deadpool head sculpts, and they're all pretty similar, but the one thing about this one that I really like are the extra lines that are on the side of the head here on the profile. I think that is phenomenal, and if you look at, I guess, the cheek area attached to, like, the chin, there are stretch marks that are in the mask, which previous Deadpool figures didn't do, and also I think in the movies they didn't have before. So this is kind of a new look for him, and I love it.
What's in the box?
So with this figure, you're going to get the two hands that form the heart shape, which is pretty awesome. I don't know if we've ever gotten that with a Deadpool figure before, but that's pretty cool. And we get the kind of two relaxed hands, one kind of stiff open hand and one relaxed hand, two finger gun hands, and just below, down to the left over here, you're going to get two gun holding hands. And there's also two sword holding hands, which I forgot to put in here, so I apologize for that, but those are in there also. And you're going to get the OK symbol hand, which you could use for other things, and also the thumbs up hand. And then you get what might be most of our favorite accessory, is the Desert Eagles, which I think is the best handgun ever created. And you get Baby Knife, which Deadpool calls this Baby Knife. Every time he stabs someone in the movie, he yells Baby Knife, which is hysterical. And if you get the Timed Edition Deluxe version, you get two gold-plated Desert Eagles, which has that gold-plated color very similar to the original Zelda cartridge, which is amazing. So anyone that grew up with Nintendo, they're going to love these a lot. Here's a closer look at the Desert Eagles. On the bottom, you can see there's a little Deadpool symbol. And then if you open up the slide on the top, you can actually, if you look really closely, you can see a little tiny bullet in there, which is pretty awesome. I just love these guns. These are the best guns ever. Here are the new Deadpool swords that kind of have a gold undertone throughout the whole thing. On the handles and then on the blade itself, it has sort of this golden hue, which is really cool. Unfortunately, it's not metal, but they still look great. And then on the bottom of the pommel, you're going to have DR and BS. DR stands for Dorothy and Rose, and BS stands for Blanche and Sophia, which are the characters from the Golden Girls. And for those of you that were curious, they do stick on to Deadpool the same way as all the previous ones, with like a magnetic connection, which is cool. So the additional eyes that Deadpool gets are this set, which I'm not even too sure what you would call this set. Maybe Slightly Annoyed Deadpool. And then we move on to this one, which is definitely Annoyed Deadpool. I think you're about to get attacked by this Deadpool look. These are pretty cool eyes. I like these. And the Angry Deadpool eyes, which are perfect for when he's shooting or using his swords if you're going to pose him that way. These are probably my favorite that aren't the regular default Deadpool eyes. And actually these are great also, but the wide-eyed Deadpool eyes, the shocked, basically the eyes he has when he sees Mary Poppins. And then you also are going to get this little floating Deadpool dead head. I don't really know much about this character, but it's fun, I guess. I know it also comes with the zombified Deadpool, one of the previous Hot Toy releases. And he comes with two propellers that go on his head, and I guess it's neat. I'm not going to use them. I really don't care about the extra Deadpool characters too much. A couple of them were pretty cool. And then last but not least, Dogpool, aka Mary Poppins, which I actually like that name even better, to be honest with you. I actually like this accessory. I was a little scared because Hot Toys doesn't have a good reputation for making animals. I don't know if you ever saw the Back to the Future one. It's pretty terrible. This one can move its head around, which I think is kind of great. It's pretty much all the dog does in the movie also. It's got the little tongue hanging out, and the two legs on the front move back and forth, which kind of assists you if you want to have Deadpool holding the dog, which that's how I have it displayed. But yeah, I think it's a cool little accessory. Out of all of them that we got, this is probably my favorite one. So this is probably my least favorite accessory. Honestly, I really detest it. I don't know. It's just silly. I really don't care about the character. It does come with an extra set of eyes, which I guess is cool if you care about Baby Pool. But I think it kind of goes too far into the... It's okay if it's in the movie, but I don't really want this figure. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. But it comes with 2 baby bottles, and then this harness, which isn't in the movie. Paint this thing also, and here's a shot of him wearing it. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get on, too. So, I don't know. I don't like the Baby Pool, and I don't like the harness. The hell with it. I didn't need it. And then you get this stand, which it looks cool from a distance, but man, this thing is like a Fabergé egg. It is so fragile. It is very light. It can't even support Deadpool's weight if you put him a little too far forward or back. And you can tell right here, look how thin the plastic is. The thing doesn't weigh anything. I kind of wish they just gave us like a normal Deadpool stand, to be quite honest with you. Jumping into the suit, I really wanted to talk about the knees here. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever purchased the original Deadpool figure from the first movie and then Deadpool 2. But the first movie, look at the knees on this one that I have. The joints are like right at where the pads are on the knee, and they just slowly over time, they just started to tear off and fall off. And I didn't have a pose like that. I didn't start doing that pose until they already started tearing off. I never even did anything crazy as far as poses with that first figure, and the knees fell off. But the material on this figure and where they put the knee pads is fantastic. They put the knee joint below the pads so the pads aren't getting bent back and forth and eventually fall off. The material for this suit actually is also significantly better than any of the materials that were ever used for any of the Spider-Man suits. I think they're similar, but it stretches way better, and it doesn't feel like it's going to ruin the figure if you have it in a pose. The eyes also come out much easier, as you see there. All you gotta do is push on them. Previous Deadpools, I had issues with that. So those are like 2 huge improvements. And then the shoulder pads, which actually connect with Velcro. So that's a 3rd improvement. They really put a lot of time and energy into improving what they had previously done, which is basically what we want to see from Hot Toys figures, especially for, you know, a deluxe figure or something as beloved as Deadpool is. But again, the materials on this are top-notch, and the flexibility is fantastic. There are some limitations with spreading the legs here. You don't want to go too far. I kind of started to feel like I might mess the seams up or tear the seams, so I kind of stopped right there. But at the joints, there is a ton of flexibility at the knee, especially moving backwards with the knee. You can go really far, and it's just a figure that you feel like you could do all of Deadpool's moves from the movie, which is huge, because, like, yeah, if you want to do poses that are outside of the norm, that's one thing, but you could really do some poses that allow you to get everything from the movie that I remembered from when I saw it. Maybe there's something you guys could find that can't be done. So let's start with the bad stuff. I mean, there really isn't anything bad, you know. The stands, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm probably not going to use it. I'm going to use a different stand. It can't counterbalance his weight very well, so it can tip forward or backwards or sideways. So it's kind of a useless stand, to be quite honest with you. The Baby Pool figure, don't need it. The harness, don't need it. The floating head, really don't care. I know some people would love to have that are, huge into Deadpool comics and the floating head. That's cool. I'm, happy if you're happy with that accessory. I love the Gold Desert Eagles. I love Mary Poppins being in there. I think that's fantastic. The new suit is fantastic. The flexibility, the upgrades to the shoulders, to the knee pads, to the suit in general. I kind of wish that the swords were metal. I did actually, it's kind of heartbreaking, but I broke one of the swords at the bottom of the hilts. Or actually the top of the hilts, right where the sword begins. I was trying to have Deadpool grab the sword out of the sheath, and it just snapped it so easily, so be careful, they're kind of fragile. So I wish that those were metal. That would have really bumped up the score, I think. But there's flexibility here to be able to do all of Deadpool's poses from the movie and then some. It's a lot. It's the most fun I've actually had ever doing poses with a figure. Mostly because there were so many things I could do, and he has so many emotions, so many different types of hands, so many different types of eyes. It's just a plethora of stuff. I really take Baby Pool though, and the harness, and take the floating head, and give me Wolverine's adamantium skeleton. That would have been an amazing accessory. What's my final score? 9.6 Mary Poppins out of 10.